FaZe Clan is not in one of the best spots as their stock continues to absolutely tumble, and the OG members come out making videos talking bad about the brand and how it's all gone downhill since corporate took over. You even have FaZe Rain making the rounds on YouTube podcasts and YouTube videos, kind of talking about everything and putting it all out in the open.
Who am I even fighting for anymore? Like, who am I fighting for? I did all this to bring these guys more money and more leverage and to protect them and all this and just to preserve and enrich the brand as much as we can. And then they're over here signing penny deals. Morals don't matter in business.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a thing to make it matter. Like, people don't care. Like, nah, it's business. This is business. How am I willing to give up more than all of y'all with less? It just makes no sense to me. It's like, that should have meant more, that someone that had way more is giving up his shit and risking his shit for y'all that have less. That's the point.
And I actually like what FaZe Rain's doing, talking about everything, putting it out in the open, because there are people who look at FaZe and imagine that it's Rain, Apex, Temper, these guys at the top making all the decisions still as like the founders of FaZe, but it's not really the case. I mean, even if we just look at the top holders of FaZe stock, you can see that there's really no names that you would recognize here. I mean, this is like from the SPAC deal that they did. So to go public, they get shares of the company. But a lot of these people, Lee Trink, I think, is the CEO right now. But there's no names on here besides one that's like a founding member that people would know, and that's Yusuf here, which is Apex. That I didn't actually know his name was Yusuf, but that's Apex. At least he's on this list, but nowhere else is anyone on this list. No real founding members are top shareholders of FaZe Clan, unless they are under like some shell company or something. They're not here. So that by itself is a little weird that they're not there, right? But that's still to show like they don't have the power to decide what to do in FaZe. They really don't. Even if all of them came together, I doubt that they have the majority votes to actually get things done in FaZe, and it shows because FaZe has been going after celebrities to get them to take pictures with FaZe chains, and then those celebrities do absolutely nothing forever, and they're getting paid by FaZe. They get shares in the company, and they just get to be on the board. I think Snoop Dogg is literally on the board of directors for FaZe, which is wild. But if we look at FaZe stock, it's not too good. It's really, really not good. Obviously, 40 cents, under $1, which is a pretty big mark here. If we go back 3 months, you can see it went under $1. February 8th here was first time it went under $1, and it's just gone down since at 40 cents, about to go under 40 cents a share. And if they continue down this streak of obviously being less than $1, they're on the NASDAQ. I'm pretty sure this is the rules here. You know, if they trade for consecutive 30 business days below the dollar minimum closing bid requirement, the NASDAQ will send a defiancy notice to the company advising that it has been afforded a compliance period of 180 calendar days to regain compliance with the applicable requirements. So from reading that, they're coming up on 30 days. I think March 22nd, around there, will be 30 trading days or business days that they went under $1 and sustained under $1. And then we'll be going on to that 180 day. So they'll have like 6 months around to be able to get back over $1 or risk being delisted from the stock market, which obviously by itself is a crazy thing. FaZe, one of the biggest esport orgs in the world, could be delisted from the stock market. Even if we look at FaZe's market cap, it's not good. We see them right now. They're at under $30 million market cap. FaZe Clan, the world's most recognizable esport org, is under $30 million, and it used to be $1 billion was what it came out on its SPAC, and even on the Forbes list, it was like 400 million. And you look at the other companies there that are 400, 300 million dollars, and FaZe is just more notable than those guys. Like, if you asked a random person on the street and said, or a random 18-year-old, 20-year-old on the street and said, you know, do you know who FaZe is? They probably know, like 7, 8 times out of 10, they probably know who FaZe is. If you ask them who TSM is, they probably have no real idea unless they're deep in the esports world. And Nadeshot actually touches on this. He responds talking about this whole situation with FaZe and how it's kind of a blunder on the entire esports scene, and it's a problem for everybody, not just FaZe.
Let me tell you this, and let me be abundantly clear. FaZe is the lack of success on the market, and you know, you could say that that was their own doing, and they fucked us by jumping in and giving that a shot. their lack of success on the market is a terrible thing for the esports industry as a whole, man. Like, people look at that, outside investors or people that want to be a part of gaming and they want to invest in it, they won't touch it with a 100-foot pole, seeing what's happened. And I think the savvy investors that know that that's just like a very unique situation, they'll still be involved. But it's always just going to make the introduction and the conversation around money tougher for anybody that isn't a part of gaming now and wants to be a part of it in the future. So
I think Nate Shot's pretty spot on here, right? When you think of esports, if you're an investor and you look at esports, you think about investing, but you're not really in the esports world, you've probably heard of FaZe. And if you look at FaZe and think they're the biggest organization and the biggest brand in esports, and they're getting beaten down and cannot stand in the stock market, they're probably on the path to delisting. That's not a good sign. You're probably not going to put your money out there. Now, if you're an investor that wants to be in esports or sees a big future in this and can say, well, FaZe, maybe it's a lot of mismanagement going on over there, then you can get involved. But the pool of investors and the pool of money to push this thing forward and keep growing esports is dwindling quickly because of FaZe. And if you just compared FaZe and like 100 Thieves, the FaZe business model is like an esports org, a talent agency, right? They have a bunch of content creators and maybe like a content producer, a content house themselves. They put out their own content, produce their own content. So maybe that's a little thing. But I think 100 Thieves is probably going to be the model to go after in the future, where you have this esports brand that has the teams that compete in all this, and everyone knows like the parent company. But then you have other things that are still in the gaming world, like Juvie, an energy drink for gamers to drink so they can get caffeinated and actually be cracked. And then they have a keyboard company called High Ground. So gamers need keyboards, mouse and keyboard, PC, you need keyboards. You can sell these different products in the gaming niche and have them under your company. And then that's a better business model. That's more streams of revenue. That actually makes a lot of sense. But unless something crazy changes with FaZe, they might be on the path to being delisted, which would be a devastating blow for esports. If FaZe Clan, the most notable brand, got delisted and couldn't make it on the stock market, it's going to affect everybody and affect the entire industry. It could potentially scare investors away and keep money out of the scene so it stops growing. And there's only a handful of companies that could even prosper or even imagine making profits. The majority of esports teams burn cash. So if those investors go away, the lot of the scene would end up getting burned and would drastically stunt the growth of anything in esports. That's gonna do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.